INEC gets commendation for conduct of Ekiti and Osun governorship elections. And on the program today, focus is on collapsing university system in Nigeria and effects on the education system. A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Panorama from the Benin Network Center. I'm Ogochkuka Ona. The 6th International Cultural Summit has opened in Edinburgh, Scotland, with the theme, Culture and a Sustainable Future. The summit is focusing on an urgent need for a coordinated and committed investment for the future. Anthony Forson reports.
With the Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed leading the Nigerian delegation to the summit, he is equally optimistic that the global problem requires global solution and that effective response to this most challenging issue will be apt.
Something is clear that as the years, roll by, culture becomes much more, important, not just to the economy, but even to the sustainability of civilization, to international security. And then from the different contributions of different participants today, I was struck by the way people have been tolerant of what they don't understand. To us in Africa in particular, we destroyed our culture, but in destroying our culture, they did not only destroy our ways of life, they destroyed the essence of our lives.
He pointed out that culture can play a vital role in helping people all over the world to discover commonality, to conceptualize critical issues that mankind face today.
Now, you can see that the British colonial officers simply did not understand why the king's horseman should die with the king. When he was arrested, they thought they were trying to protect him, but they were destroying the whole ecosystem. And I always make reference to the autobiography of Professor Oyawoye, a professor of geology, who narrated in his book. He has a daughter. When they came back from the UK in the 60s, when Orthodox medicine gave up on her, it was a traditional medicine that cured her completely, and that the lady is alive today, almost 64.
In Edinburgh, Scotland, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
New National Executive of the Nigerian Bar Association with Yakubu Chonoko Mekeu, SAN, as the 31st president has been sworn in. Adeni Taiwo reports that the ceremony is the high point of the 62nd Annual General Conference of the association in Lagos.
In the last 5 days, national attention has been on the 62nd Annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association, which offered a platform for discussions and agenda setting on key issues. Saving the best for the last, and in keeping with its theme, Bold Transitions, the conference saw out the tenure of Olumide Akpata-led administration and ushered in a new leadership of the association. Taking the mantle of leadership as the 31st president exactly on the 11th anniversary of his appointment as a senior advocate of Nigeria, the new president, Yakubu Chonoko Mekeu, pledged to build on the legacies of his predecessor with service to the cause of justice as the central focus.
The desire and the pursuit and the mandate of this association to promote the observance of the rule of law and the entrenchment of this in all facets of our life. And we believe that it is in doing that that we can attain the justice that we are all looking for.
And for the man who bore the burden of leading the association in the last 2 years, the responsibility of NBA to stand up for the society is a national imperative.
The NBA is back. It has its voice back. Society is listening to us. Government is watching. We tell government as it is. We tell society as it is. And where necessary, we call out those who are falling out of line.
Goodwill messages from Governor of Kebbi State, Atiku Bagudu, EFCC Chairman Abdulrasheed Bawa, and representative of the President of the Court of Appeal acknowledged the new spirit within the NBA, noting that it will serve the nation well. Born on February 6, 1965 in Kebbi State, the new president of NBA was called to the bar in 1990. He was elected into office in July 2022. In Lagos, Adeni Itaiwo, NTA News.
The recent Ekiti and Osun governorship elections are significant turning points for the nation's electoral history. The feats INEC says will be courageously guarded in the 2023 elections. Timothy Yusuf reports.
The Ekiti and Osun governorship elections are over. Time for post-mortem. INEC and election observers comparing notes on the successes and observations and findings expected to make a contribution in the 2023 elections.
We saw improvement in Ekiti, remarkably. We also saw a much more better improvement also in Osun.
INEC IREV, it's a progressive and a positive innovation in our electoral process. However, for the general election, one of the things we're hoping to see is how that system is a bit more functional.
Presenting the reports for the two elections, Yaga Africa and INEC recognized that the new Electoral Act is a major step towards deepening the quality of elections in Nigeria.
This commission will continue to upload polling unit results to our INEC result viewing portal. This commission will not depart from it. The Nigerian people will be involved at every inch of the process.
INEC must continue to do what we are proud of because of the innovation INEC is bringing into the process.
The use of beavers and electronic transmission of election results from polling units are all success stories, and this gives the electorate more confidence in the process. While encouraging all political actors to study the new Electoral Act, members of the joint civil society organizations are urging relevant stakeholders to have a thorough background check on the recent INEC Resident Electoral Commissioners nominees. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
And now the professional knowledge and operational capacity of security agents engaged in election duties are being enhanced for optimal performance. As the country marks time towards the 2023 general election, the target groups in the southern parts of the country have taken their turn in the election security management workshop put together by the Nigerian Police and Solar Security and Consults Company Limited. One after the other, and in groups, they came armed with their ideas, complaints, and commendations. To them, it is serious business, as the words in the national anthem are reminders to the importance of this event. The issues and challenges towards the 2023 general election in Edo State and the South-South geopolitical zone top the agenda. It is born out of the need to make a difference from the way it used to be when concerns were the order of the day in terms of poor coordination and professional conduct of law enforcement agencies deployed to election security duties.
The long-term objectives of this initiative are to facilitate attainment of a credible electoral process, entrench democratic values, and strengthen national security during the 2023 general election.
It's the responsibilities of all stakeholders to ensure that the elections take place in a conducive environment.
The Oba of Benin and the Benin Traditional Council used the opportunity to raise the latest discovery of 20 dead bodies in Benin.
It's a taboo in Benin for someone to just, you say you are a mortician and you drive people
Please, we want to see the end of that investigation.
Providing a safe and secure environment for credible election in Nigeria is a task that must be achieved. This is a reiteration call to the participants by the IGP.
We have come of age in our democracy. We must show the world and be proud of ourselves to ensure that we conduct the election and it's to be judged free, fair, and credible.
Media relations and security functions towards effective public communication for election and managing officers' mental health and stress during election were some of the papers presented at the event. Now, vandalism of critical national assets is impacting negatively on the nation's economy. To stem this unpatriotic act, a summit on anti-vandalism between security agencies and civil society organizations is holding in Abuja. Chimdinma Ndubusi reports.
That manhole was open, so the tire of my car ran into it. I had a crack on the rim. The tire was swollen, so I had to change it.
Olayemi there, narrating his experience with vandalized manholes. It's not just manhole that is targeted by vandals. Telecommunications operators report fiber cuts, inverter batteries, generators and diesel theft, contributing to unfriendly network connectivity occurring most times. The power sector is not left out in this onslaught, let alone the oil and gas industry, losing about 200,000 barrels of crude oil daily, accounting an estimated 10% decrease in revenue generation annually. All these have financial, health and environmental implications that scare investors away. So, here, a meeting of think tank of some sort, forming a pool of ideas to come up with a lasting solution to vandalism.
Citizens will therefore contribute their quota to improve the security of energy infrastructure by reporting suspicious activities around such infrastructure to security operatives.
Members of respective communities must guard against the destruction of telecoms infrastructure and also discouraging the vice by naming and shaming those caught in the act.
We are training and retraining to make sure that there is peace during the elections.
We have also suggesting to government on the need to establish a national infrastructure trust fund so that you can help government to raise funding support from the accrued support from the companies to protect and maintain this infrastructure.
Engaging youths in meaningful ventures, especially in the ICT sector, that presents huge job opportunities and prompt response of security agencies to reports of vandalism are possible solutions suggested at this summit. In Abuja, Chimdinma Ndubusi, NTA News.
We are taking a break now. The news continues shortly. Please stay tuned.
The vaccine offers hope for a safe country free of coronavirus. I urge all state governments, traditional and religious leaders to take the lead in the mobilization effort within their environment and spheres of influence. I similarly urge all eligible Nigerians to present themselves and be vaccinated in accordance with the order of priority already mapped out at the various authorized designated centers only.
It is 559 days of strike action by ASU, cumulatively from 2017 till date, and still counting, though a series of meetings between representatives of the body and government have held no important breakthroughs and these have not been recorded, random accusations of non-implementation of signed MOUs and unrealistic demands have frequently been hurled at government by ASU. Anwule Okolo in this report examines the implications of these prolonged strike action and the bickering it has produced.
Except for some state schools and private schools still running, the Nigerian tertiary education sector has been on a standstill since ASU commenced its strike action on February 14. For over 6 months, lecturers and students have been homebound.
The cognitive decline, I must emphasize this, the COVID period where people had to stay at home. When students came back to school, it was difficult to get them back on their feet again. The first test that most of them wrote, they failed because it was more or less like they were not ready.
This break has as its major victims the students who feel the brunt of the lag in the academic calendar.
The academic calendar is already disrupted. We have the first set now waiting to get back to school on admissions. They are already admitted, but they are not in school. And before you know it, a second batch will join. This is not healthy for the students, for the parents, and for the country.
We have stagnated. We can't even plan to travel. We can't even plan to do anything resourceful because before you know it, the strike can be called off anytime soon. So we don't even have a plan for our life as at now.
I was supposed to spend about 2 or a year and a half or even a year, and it's now prolonged to more than expected or the stipulated time.
Apart from the final year who can say, okay, when I come back to school, I will still live within the 6 months. The other one don't even know the year they belongs to, whether you are 200, you are 300 level, we can't even know again to go back.
Some say these breaks can be maximized for skills development.
During the COVID, we learned something. The strike before this one, we learned something. What should we keep learning, even when the society and the organization does not even encourage what we learn? How many skills should I have as a student before I graduate for a 4-year course?
The bottom line by stakeholders is call off the strike, as they believe a continued strike action might escalate into an unrecoverable decline in the mental, cognitive and physical manpower of the country. Meanwhile, feelers are that the National Executive Committee of the Union is to convene on 29th of August over the federal government's offer at the last meeting. One of the canvassed options is that the federal government might consider the proscription of ASU. In Benin, Anwule Okolo, NTA News.
Thank you very much, Anwule Okolo, for that. And in the studio is Dr. Isaiah Osifo. He's an administrator and an educationist. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
All right, you just saw that report indicating that higher education in Nigeria has been switched off for more than 559 days. So what, in your opinion, what has this done to the culture of scholarship and learning?
Well, to address this problem, we have to be fundamental in terms of causality and effects. The background to this study and understanding the implications of prolonged university closure, it has to be totally examined based upon the aspiration of a nation. Nationally speaking, in all parts of the world, the development of any nation is dependent on 2 major pillars: the level of political development and the level of educational development. If you remove these 2 factors, you're not going to have a developed nation. Your politics must be developed, your education must be developed. If you like, they're both symmetrical in terms of creating that independent variables for measuring development. So no nation should joke with education, whether primary, secondary, or tertiary. So what we're having right now is an embarrassment to us as individuals, to the society, and to the nation at large. Many of these universities, especially the federal universities, were even consulted or established by military government. For instance, University of Benin was established by the then military administrator of Benin State, His Excellency General Sobremudia. Look at the infrastructure in University of Benin that was put in place by military administrator. What are these lecturers asking for now? Maintenance of this structure, improvement on this structure. So if a military government can conceptualize such an edifice, realizing the importance of university education, but we're not in a democracy that is supposed to be a government of everybody. And the professors are saying, just improve on this structure that was constructed about 40, 50 years ago. Expand on it. To me, and to all reasonable Nigerians, the demand is very rational.
Okay, but the succession in which it happens, is it okay?
When the cause is not solved, because of the hospital, modern medicine, when orthodox doctors, what they do now, they don't give you paracetamol injection. The person has got the lab. That's what the actual to know the cause of the symptoms that you are expecting. If you don't solve the cause, how are you going to solve the event? It is fundamental. And what is responsible? Nigeria is a rich country. Two factors that must be addressed. Our political system. I'm happy your first report was on a free and fair election in Osun and Ekiti State. We all, the media, the university teachers, I'm happy most of them are the electoral officers. Citizens, students that are home, parents, must be committed to free and fair democracy so we can have a sound political system. When you have a sound political system, you don't have a rule of law. When you have a rule of law, you will address the issue of corruption. Now, corruption is pervasive in terms of revenue generation and distribution. We are no longer even generating revenue. And we are not being told 80 billion naira is used for payment of subsidy. What are these lecturers asking for? About 200 billion naira. Now, if you say you are using 80 billion naira for 1 day subsidy for fuel, it means in 2 weeks you can generate what can pay these lecturers so that they can return to school. So the subsidy regime must be addressed. The revenue is not that yet. I mean, you're going to create magic, you're going to do miracle. The revenue is not that yet. But the resources are there. The mobilization, the organization will depend on political discipline.
Okay, but must it be true strikes? Because the students have been sure they've lost touch.
Now, when you talk about strike, strike is always the last resort. No, university job is the most noble job anybody can take. 90% of professors see there. They are not there because of the salary that they earn. It's for the love of the job because most of their students earn more than them. I train you as an electrical engineer, you go to share to get a job. You don't earn more than your professor. And the professor is still there for 30, 35 years. Many of the university doors are not there because of the salary. It is love for the job. For them to go to strike, it has been pushed to the wall.
Okay, what's the way forward?
The way forward is that patriotism in terms of first addressing the fundamental cause. What is the fundamental cause? The money is not there. Why is the money not there? The system is corrupt. This subsidy 3 months. Let me tell you, what you use the pay subsidy can build 30 modular refinery that can refine petroleum that you don't need to import and talk of subsidy. The fundamental issues must be addressed. Non-partisan approach. Talk to Nigerians that have this experience and knowledge. Forget about party now. Okay? Bring them together. For instance, you have a national chairman of a political party who was a leader, who was a lecturer. He's alive.
Those people should be engaged.
Those people should be engaged. There's a party who has a national chairman that was an absolute leader. Right. That was a university professor for many years. Why are you not engaging them to, people can, it's an emergency situation. It's no longer APC or it's about Nigerian survival now because it's dangerous. I was privileged to school in Nigeria and school in the United Kingdom. And when I see the comparison, we're getting into a trouble. God forbid trouble for this country. So we have to address the fundamental cause. Okay. The revenue is not there, but the resources are there. Mobilizing these resources by prudency and discipline so that what lecturers what they're asking about is infinitesimal compared to the resources of this country.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Azayo Sifo, for your very, very wonderful contribution.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. All right. And up next is sports with Eneljo Adiku.
Home-based